Hello and welcome back to She Leads the Way. I'm your host, Nikki Bedford, and on today's episode, we have Christiana Maxion, founder of Maxion, the millionaire, billionaire matchmaker. And today we're going to talk about all things in finding love, dating, but also how Christiana's journey built Maxion and everything that comes along with that. Business, success, what you should do if you want to own your own business. Christiana, welcome.
Hello, Nikki. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
I love this. She leads the way.
She leads the way, and here you are.
I am.
So get into it for us, if you would. Give us a little about you and your background.
Okay, so I'm originally from New York. Never ever thought I would ever leave New York. My entire family lives within 5 miles of each other. Fell in love with a boy in 2015, moved to the UAE in 2016, and yeah, forged my way here. Like when I first moved here, like I feel like I've lived 8 different lives. Like my career, I was first an athlete, then I studied finance, decided to leave finance, got my master's in education, taught first grade, kindergarten. When I initially moved here, I was a KG1 teacher. We ended up splitting, but I ended up staying and really growing my career in education, became a national teacher trainer, published author, and a leader in a school by the age of 28. Would have never been able to do that back in New York in such like a short amount of time.
Congrats.
Thank
That's amazing.
you. But what I love about the UAE is like I call it the new land of opportunity.
Yes.
And this is a place, if you take action, you can really make something work. And yeah, then that led me to starting my matchmaking agency and now being a tech founder. I feel, it's crazy the wild ride I've had since October 2021. And then to be here in this seat on covers of magazines, television shows, and all of it, I mean, she leads.
Here you are leading the way. Amazing.
Yeah.
And we're going to unpack all of that. But firstly,
it's a lot.
I think given the relevance of being within matchmaking, I'd love to unpack more about your experience within finding love, dating, and relationships.
Yeah.
First of all, coming from New York, which I am such a lover of New York. I know that we've spoken about that before. Have you found any big differences between dating in New York versus dating in Dubai?
See, I was dating in New York in my 20s,
Yeah.
right? Early 20s. And I always had boyfriends
Yeah.
when I was in New York. And obviously when I moved out here, I was in a relationship and then we had split. But I honestly think that Dubai is the most amazing place to date. You can date the entire map. You meet people from literally over 180 nationalities are represented here. You meet people from all walks of life, religion, culture. It's really great, and I love it for that.
Yeah, I love it too. And it's funny because I know that when we were first speaking, we were both talking about our dating experiences. And that's actually a fairly controversial answer to say that you actually enjoy dating here, because
Love it.
that's genuinely not the response most people give when it
Correct.
comes to dating in Dubai. And I myself have also had an extremely positive experience of love dating in Dubai, and you have as well. I know that when I was looking more into some of your background around dating, a big thing that popped out was about your parents who have been together for just such a long time. So do you feel that they've set a really good example for you in terms of your mindset when it comes to dating? Or
Yeah, so my parents are high school sweethearts.
does that even happen anymore?
It does. It had. They met when they were 14 and 16 years old. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's just so young.
It is. And so my mother grew up in Manhattan. My father grew up in the Bronx. They went to rival high schools. And my mom was 14. My dad was 16. They had one teenage breakup in between, but then they've been together ever since. My mom was 18 after that, or 17, something like that. But yeah, they had me when my mom was 19, my dad was 21, and they've been together ever since.
Wow. That is, it's just so heartwarming to hear that, especially given it's probably been more of a tumultuous environment in the world when it comes to dating. So when you hear stories like that, it just gives so much hope.
Well, what I think it is, I mean, the secret sauce to any long-term relationship is that you evolve and grow together. And what obviously my parents are way different now than their 50s than when they were teenagers.
Yeah, of course.
But they walked in love. They decided to make choices together to not only build a family, but build businesses together, build a life together as partners. They are an extremely amazing team. They always come at every issue or scenario as a united front. And I think seeing that growing up has always been amazing to me. And I see the way that my father treats my mom. He puts her on a pedestal, and I absolutely adore their relationship.
Yeah, I love that. I also think that they're so incredibly lucky to have found their people at that age, because I do believe that there can be a time limit to certain relationships. You may grow and then, you know, the relationship expires and then you need to pivot.
And then you hit the limit sometimes. And what do people say? Like, you meet somebody for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yes.
So it's always important to be reflective.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
something doesn't work out, well, what were the lessons learned and what was the reasoning behind it possibly?
Definitely. So tell me about Maxion. Tell us, how did it come about?
Well, I opened up first my matchmaking agency, so the offline business, which our clients are high net worth, ultra high net worth men, and we match make them with their ideal partner, essentially. And I opened up that matchmaking agency back in October 2021. This was at a time where basically I had an Instagram account in 2020 where I was documenting my experience dating in Dubai. I absolutely love it. Loved it. Still love it.
Were you getting people saying, what? Do you actually love it? Or were people commenting that? Were people...
Well, what I learned from that account was that people hated dating in Dubai.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've always been a solution seeker. So what I decided to do was solve dating in Dubai. And I, at first, so I knew of matchmaking because I'm from the US and it's a business that you see a lot. You used to see it on television as well. And I was kind of shocked that there were no services out here. So I actually consulted a legal team back in 2021 and I was like, well, is it illegal to have a matchmaking agency here? And they said no, just as long as your contracts say ABC, XYZ. And I was like, okay, perfect. So in my eyes, I was the first public Western matchmaker because of course they had the traditional matchmaking amongst the Arab communities, but nobody who was really out there matchmaking, especially for the expats. So, gosh, the demand for the matchmaking really just proved to me that people were searching for an alternative as to what was currently on the market.
And something that's more of a personal experience as well, rather than the swiping.
Exactly. So, gosh, I mean, it just blew up like super duper quickly. Within 7 months, I was asked to join a global team. So then, I run Middle East and UK for Sync Matchmaking. I still have my own agency here. And what I realized was I was creating so much love and connection, but only for a small group niche of people. And because it is so personalized and hands-on, we only take on a certain number of clients per quarter. So what I decided to do, I had a client, I had a couple of people put some bugs in my ear about AI and about tech. So I decided to digitize my services in order to reach a much wider audience. So not just millionaires and billionaires, but ambitious individuals, successful professionals. And we launched publicly live here in Dubai only a couple of weeks ago. And gosh, it has been insane. We're already talking about expanding globally. It's massive.
That's incredible. So what does that look like then? If you're talking AI, what does that look like?
So the AI components that are in the app, so obviously we're building the engines in order to perfect the compatibility process.
Okay.
We collect feedback from your dates that you go on. But we're also, because the app and what I learned about from matchmaking and the services that our clients really loved was not just the matching part of it and introducing them to amazing people, but it was the concierge of it. Planning, booking, confirming the date, managing the feedback, managing the communication. So what I've done is digitize that and basically married compatibility and concierge. So the AI doesn't only help with the compatibility, but it will also help with the concierge elements that we plan to put into Maxion.
I have a question on compatibility because given your experience, you would know based on what they're asking, perhaps what a great match for them would be. But have you seen Millionaire Matchmaker? You said that you'd seen shows,
Yeah,
and you can
we
see.
used to be partners actually.
Oh,
It's
really?
So funny. Yeah. Her and the team. Yeah.
So you see when she's matching these people, you can see the laundry list of requests sometimes that either the man or the woman is after. And
Yeah.
sometimes you may think, well, that is a little unrealistic. How do you
Correct.
deal with this?
We don't take on clients that are delusional.
Okay.
Well, and that's why our success rate is so high.
Yeah.
You know, we're super
So you're happy to walk
particular.
away and be like, so do you have that conversation up front then and say, to see if you're a good match and a good fit, to make sure that.
Yep, definitely. I think that's being self-aware and being open to the matchmaking process and learning more about yourself is amazing. And that's where you truly can find a partner, when you're open to it. And usually the men who come to us that invest in it are open to it because they're like investing
nothing
in a
else is
service,
working.
right?
Yeah.
Not that nothing else is working. I think that what happens is there's this misconception that our clients come to us because it's a last resort. Oh my God, I'll never be able to find somebody. When in actuality, because they are so high profile, extremely Googleable, or they run in circles that might be smaller than you would imagine,
Yeah.
they need our services. It's the only option in order for them to find a compatible partner.
Yeah, that's amazing. A lot of what we talk about on She Leads the Way is the process of building new businesses and the challenges that we face as we do that. When you're speaking, it seems that everything fell into place, but naturally behind the scenes, I'm sure there were things going
Yeah.
everywhere. Can you talk
Yeah.
us through the beginning when you was trying to
Sure.
put everything together and how you moved through so that you just kept trucking along?
So the Instagram, so I used to work in education, like I said, I was a leader in a school. And so I had that Instagram account, Dating in Dubai. My former employer saw the account and let me go within 24 hours.
Oh, really?
And they said this doesn't match the ethos. I mean, in my words, is how I translated it, that it didn't match the ethos of their school,
Yeah.
which is completely fine. At first, you kind of like, at least for me, well, I kept my visa, they kept me on salary, and I was going to get a nice payout. But I couldn't do anything with dating in Dubai until then. And that was in March was when I was let go. But obviously, everything would come to a head in July. So I had months, right, to kind of just like think on it, sit on it. What am I going to do next? And at first, you kind of think like, what the hell are you going to do next? Because you've had this and you've built this career in education. So like in one industry, right? Can you do something in a different industry?
Yeah.
Those weren't even thoughts in my head until I had lots of time on my hand, and I'm a builder. Like I need to do things. So I kind of just like was thinking about the idea, toying with the idea of like dating, and maybe because of this Instagram account, I am supposed to be
Yeah.
in that world. I got approached to do a television show that never got the green light, but then it also made me think about entertainment.
Yeah.
So there are like a lot of things that I was thinking about. What ended up happening is I did get another job in education, but what I found was dating in Dubai was going to be my son, like the
Yeah.
middle, the nucleus of everything, and everything was going to revolve around it. So I decided to leave that other job in education. It kind of was, that school that I was in was very, very unorganized. And it kind of was a sign from God. I felt like I was listening to this book. Oh my gosh.
What book?
You're a Badass at Making Money by
Yes.
Jen Sincero. And I remembered, I see it in my head right now. I was walking on the boulevard and I had it in my headsets in. I'm walking and I'm standing in front of Boulevard Heights. I see it right in front of my head right now, and it says, if you need a sign to quit your job, this is it. And I looked up and I said, fuck, I need to quit my job.
Wow.
So I went in that day and I quit my job.
Oh,
And then, like, I
no
did-
messing around.
Yeah, I mean, I had kind of put some things into place. I took on one client. This is obviously when my prices were way different than what they are now. I took on one client and I just said, F it, I'm going to make it happen. That was in October 2021. I told them I would give them 30 days because I don't want to leave them high and dry. Told them that I would give them 30 days, but left in October. That's when I publicly announced that I had my agency. Now, first month was good because obviously I had some money from the education. I had a client, like it was okay. And then in November, I made like zero money.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I was talking to my parents and I was like, guys, I just need $5,000. Can you like help me out? And they said no. They were like, you chose to go out on your own, either get a job or get a part-time job, go back into education, or you figure it out. And I was really upset and bummed about that because it almost felt like they didn't believe in me. But I'm happy that they didn't, because it made me grind and it made me work.
But also it's a sign of, if there's a no and you still want to do it, then you know that this is what you need to be doing.
I always knew from the start that I always knew that I was destined for greatness. I guess the first way I thought I was going to achieve greatness was by marrying rich. That was always ingrained in my brain.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Because you were manifesting that, or you had a feeling that was...
I felt like that was maybe the path one of my parents had for me. So when the guy I moved here with and I split, I flipped it and I said, I know I'm destined for greatness and I'm going to do it on my own. And then I thought it was going to be through education and the books that I had written. And then now I know it's obviously through the dating world and the sphere of matchmaking, and now as a tech founder. But even back then, when my parents had said no to giving me money, I literally, I put everything on credit cards.
Yeah.
I just said, F it, I know this is going to work.
Yeah.
And then I think that because I stuck to it, I had some resilience, grit, really grinded it out, the universe opened up for me, and then that's when things just started snowballing.
And so how long? So in November then, when you were getting a lot of no's, do you remember when you were waking up how you were feeling? Like obviously on one side you would have had this drive, but do you remember the exact emotions that were within you? Because you knew within yourself, as you're saying now, that everything was going to open up. But in that moment you were getting no's.
Yeah.
How were you how were you getting through just that time?
I always knew it was going to work.
Yeah, you knew
it didn't matter. Like what happened, what people said, like I just always knew it was going to work. I have never had any doubt in myself, period. Like somebody
incredible.
Asked me the other day, do you ever have self-doubt? And I say, no.
Yeah.
I just don't. Like, I don't know. I've never, ever had any self-doubt in this whole journey. I just knew that it was going to work one way or another. And like I've been through ups and downs with it. But then when I committed, like I always say, like jump, then figure out how to fly.
Yes.
So I committed to it 100%. And then I felt like the sky kind of just opened up and all of these things started happening super quickly, even then with jumping into the tech world, a space I had never, ever entered into before. Now I feel like I can freaking code, like honestly, and it's only been like a year. And yeah, I remember like I did have a low back in, like now we're in February 24, but in October, November of 23. And I was in Paddock Club on a Friday for F1 in Abu Dhabi. They're obviously meant to have like party, good time. Yes. I'm on my laptop, didn't have my laptop. I was on my phone the whole time because I was talking to potential investors, talking to tech team, all of this stuff had snowballed. One of the team members had quit. It was so crazy. And I remember sitting there and I started to cry because I was like overwhelmed. I was like, oh my gosh. I was overwhelmed. And I remember that this guy came up to me who I'd gone with, and he was like, remember, this is just a test. I just met this guy an hour ago. He goes, this is just a test. And God is asking you, how bad do you want it? And I looked at him and I remember saying, real fucking bad. He said, good. Dry up your tears. Let's go. And I was like, fuck, you're right.
Oh, I love that.
So whenever I feel like a little low, I always just say real fucking bad.
Yeah, good on you. Good on you. I want to talk about, so you've already briefly touched on the fact that you're now a tech founder. Yeah. Can you tell me how that came about? Because obviously having something that was offline and then now building it into something much bigger, something that's, tech first is pretty incredible. Can you tell me about that journey?
So I had somebody put a bug in my ear about AI and dating. And I was like, that's interesting. Used to have a client that I used to talk to. He worked in tech and he would just say like, these are the great things that I love about your service. Obviously I've surveyed all my clients and they're like, this is what I love about your service. And then what I ended up doing is I was like, geez, I'm going to build an app why not? And I mean, it's funny because people ask me now, I mean, obviously I've seen success, but people ask me now, like, oh, I want to, or reach out to me, I want to be a tech founder. Where do I start? And the first thing I say is don't start. I'm like, it's freaking hard. If you don't have thick skin, if you don't have drive, if you don't have an undoubted, like a 100% belief in yourself, you will not make it.
Yeah.
Period. This is not for the faint of heart. But anyway, I just like, I went to all my friends and I said, introduce me to anybody who works in tech, is a founder, is a fund manager, anybody, get me a coffee with them, get me a drink with them. I want to sit with them. Whether they were 1 step ahead of me, 10 steps or 100 steps. And the first thing I would ask them, I would sit down and say, tell me your 2 biggest mistakes and how you solved them. And I felt like I gained 10 years of experience in each of those 10 minutes.
What would you say the biggest mistake? Was there any recurring mistake that they were making?
Yeah, people that they've hired.
That they regret hiring them or firing them?
People that they've regretted hiring.
So, ensuring that you're hiring the right people.
Talking about team. A lot, talking about team and how important it is, how a lot of people who will invest in you will look at your team. A lot of advice I was given was get advisors. So that's what I did. I started gathering, interviewing people that I wanted to have on my team as advisors. I have 3 amazing advisors now that I go to for everything, strategy, funding, tech.
Yes.
And they've been godsends. So like, I love that because I'm a solo founder. So I did this on my own. And it was great to have those advisors in order to come to the point that I am today.
Yeah, definitely. And because it's necessary to have different perspectives on things. Because if someone has a different perspective, then in your gut, you'll know, yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Or no, it's okay. I think I want to take this route.
I don't always go with everything that they tell me. I push back because it's my baby. So I get to do what I want with it.
Yeah. So let's go back to the matchmaking for a minute because we want to have a nice good news story. Do you have what is your most favorite success story in finding love?
I have way too many, but I'll talk about a recent one.
Yes.
2024. A guy, he's a older gentleman. He's in his 60s. And the first date we put him on, he's now in a relationship with her.
Really?
Literally. Best client on the planet.
Oh my goodness. And do you think that that's because you've got such a great process up front?
Correct.
You get to know him, you know what you think he'd be best suited to.
1000%. And because of like our 4-step vetting process, in order for you even to become a client, we understand you so well. And it's just like, oh, I don't know, like it warms my heart whenever something like that happens. Like even I was just on the phone to a client today. It was the first person I put them on a date with and they're now living in Europe together. Like sometimes you just get it right the first time. But I also think that it has to do with the client who puts in that investment, and it's like that message to the universe, like I'm ready and I'm committed to this, to finding love.
Yes.
And that's half the battle, to be honest.
Yes, that's amazing. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I think that there's probably nothing better than helping people find their person, because
it is amazing.
It's such an important aspect of your life, right? Being able to share it with someone.
The most important.
Yeah, definitely. So finally, can you tell me what is your best piece of advice for people looking to start a new business?
Jump, then figure out how to fly.
Okay.
But also, you're going to need to pivot, right? If something isn't working, you need to reevaluate it and change. But it's interesting, right? Because I don't know, like I felt like I just found my calling and everything has just lined up so well for me. But as I mentioned before, there have been some tests in there. I have had lots of no's, but I always say that whether it's a yes or a no, it's still a yes, because it gives you direction in terms of like closing a door or keeping that door slightly open. In terms of fundraising, like fundraising for the tech, I said this the other day to somebody, because they were saying, I'm getting lots of no's. Nobody is interested. I don't know if this is the right idea. And I said, maybe it's not the right idea, but do you wholly believe in it? Do you see the success? Have you done the research? Is there a market for this? And what's like the data behind it? And I tell people, I'm like, sometimes when you get a no, it's not a no. It means try harder, right? And what I've done is every person or potential investor that I have had like a touch point with along this journey, I keep them in like a list like on Excel, and I give like monthly updates or like highlights about what Maxion is doing. And because I do that, I get people who would come and reach back out to me. And this is why I honestly believe that now we're having expansion into Asia, because it wasn't the right timing for this one investor back then. He then spoke about me to another investor in a venture studio. We had a meeting last week, and they're going to send an LOI this week. They're like, we want to take you into Asia. So don't think that a no is a completely slammed door in your face. It's not. Keep these people kind of in like your pocket. Give them updates. Let them know what's going on with with my case, with Maxion, but with what you're doing. And you never know. That could be an open door later on down the road.
Great advice. Thank you. And there's no doubt that you should be doing this. I think that you know that as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Christiana. I think before we stop, I've got a couple of funny questions. Actually, I call them funny, but they're not. They're just more lighthearted. So I've got about 4. So if you had to get a tattoo today, like right now, we had to leave and go get a tattoo, what would you get?
I already have 3 that I need to get.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, that was an easy one.
No,
so what's the first one?
I'll do it. Yeah. So a lot of my tattoos are lyrics.
Yes.
And I love Lana Del Rey.
Yes.
So I'm going to get Sweet Like Cinnamon here.
Cute.
So it's a Lana Del Rey song called Radio.
Yeah, no, I know it.
And she goes, now my life is sweet like cinnamon.
Oh, cute.
Because cinnamon is not sweet, so I like that.
A little bit it is.
A little bit, but not really. It's spicy.
Yeah.
That's why
it is a spice though, technically. Yeah. So would you rather find true love today or win the lottery next year?
True love. I'm already winning the lottery. I'm going to be a billionaire by 40. I don't need that.
All right. True love today then.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to be in jail for 5 years or a coma for a decade?
Oh my God. Jail, you'll learn a lot. You get to read.
And you get to meet interesting people. Like some of them might not be
the best, but okay.
And then lastly, what is your idea of the perfect date? Not a first date because
okay, not a first date.
Not a first date.
Oh gosh. Well,
like if you think about, oh my goodness, I would love to go on this date. What would it look like?
So my future husband is going to propose to me on the helipad of Burj Al Arab.
Is he?
Do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Congratulations in advance.
Thanks. It's already happened. I already wrote it down. So.
Christiana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
You are incredible, and I have no doubt this business is just going to boom and boom and boom.
It already is.
So yeah, I'm really, really happy for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us on She Leads the Way with Christiana Maxion. We'll see you next time. Bye.